All right, so I'm going to go over what we're doing here before you see more questions like this, um, on the next slide. So we're going to start off with a couple examples. I'll do number one. So we want to name all the sets of numbers to where each number belongs. So first thing we're going to do is put an R. All of these are real numbers. You could go ahead and put an R in every single one of these boxes because they're all real. So is 30 rational or irrational? Well, it ends, there's no non-repeating decimals, so it would have to be rational. And we'll put our Q. Is it an integer? Yes, because it's all numbers and their opposites. 30 is 1, so it's an integer. We'll put the Z. It's a whole number, and it's also a natural number. So this is one where it touches all bases. We'll look at number 4 next, which is also a real number. So now, is it rational or irrational? Well, when you put it into a calculator, the square root of 21 is 4 point, a long list of repeating decimals. So therefore, it would fall into the irrational category, and you would put an I. Once it's irrational, you know that it's not going to be natural, it's not going to be an integer, it's not going to be a whole number. It's just going to be Ri, and that's it for that part. So now we'll look at number 11. So number 11, negative 2.875. Is that a real number? Yes, that's a real number. So is it rational or irrational? Well, it's going to be rational because 0.875, there it is. It ended right there. There's no more non-repeating decimals. It ends. It's going to be rational. So we'll put the Q. So now, is it an integer? It is not an integer because there's decimals. So because it's not an integer, it's also not going to be a whole number, not going to be a natural number. There's your answer. And finally, so we have number 6, negative square root of 9. So it's a real number. Is it rational or irrational? Okay, so we have to think for a second. So it's going to be whatever the square root of 9 is, and then make that negative. So the square root of 9 is 3, and negative, it's going to be negative 3. So that's why it's not an irrational number like number 4 was, because it's just 3. It's not a long decimal of non-repeated numbers. So it is rational. Is it also an integer? It is. It is an integer. So you'll put the Z. Now, whole numbers, this negative right here, that's going to make it negative 3, which there are no negatives in whole numbers. That's the difference between whole numbers and integers. So your answer there would be real, rational, integers. So go to the next slide, try out the next few examples, and if you don't get it the first time, you can always repeat it. If you need to come back and watch this again, it's here for you. Good luck.